Baik tu dia jadi mereka tahu रेडियो फिजी बहुत रेडियो फिजी रोज सुनता हूँ
रेडियो Fiji 2 देश की धड़कन.
In the news tonight, ban on gatherings of any size. Fijians turn up at Suva lockdown borders and shops found breaching restrictions.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Edwin Nunn.
Good evening. Social gatherings of any kind are now banned entirely anywhere in Fiji, regardless of the number of people in attendance. The previous limit allowed people to congregate so long as the numbers were kept below 20. However, Prime Minister Voreng Bainimarama has confirmed this no longer applies. Even having visitors over for a social call is considered a breach of government restrictions. Under the new restriction, the social gathering ban even prohibits two people being together if they don't live in the same house.
20% limit now applies only to the workplace. 2 people, 3 people, it doesn't matter. No more social gatherings.
Bainimarama points out that people who want to protect family and friends from possibly contracting COVID-19 will understand these restrictions. Until the danger has passed, avoid unnecessary contact with the public, including religious gatherings, kava sessions or social visits.
Do not have visitors over to your homes. Your interactions should be limited entirely to those already living in your households. If you're missing a friend or a loved one, do the same thing and call them on the phone.
More than 300,000 people are now in lockdown in between Delai Navesi in Lami, the Sawani Junction and the Nosuri Bridge. The government is hoping that people within the confined area will follow directives.
We have enough manpower. We also have the RFMF that's there with the army units, while the Navy is committed to looking after our seafront. Yes, we have enough manpower and resources. We are looking at enhancing that capability with technology. You'd have seen recently the acquisition of drones.
The Greater Suva area will remain under lockdown for the next 14 days, while restrictions in Lautoka are due to be lifted on Tuesday. In true Fijian fashion, a number of people today tried to breach border restrictions to either get in or out of the Suva lockdown. Police officers manning the checkpoints have given FBC News accounts of how individuals tried to get through, despite government's clear directive that no one is allowed in or out. Kelly Vadala reports.
The message is clear: no one in and no one out unless it's a medical emergency, and these police officers are not required to offer any explanations.
Waiting for my rental. That has been on the other side of the border.
I just came to check whether the truck drivers are allowed or not.
More than 15 police officers are manning the railway bridge checkpoint here in Nosuri. A lot of people have come up with reasons earlier this morning to go in and out, but only essential services like food supplies and medical is allowed through.
If the truck won't gonna go, the Lambasa people, they've got no food in the supermarket.
I'm here to just pass the truck driver exchange. We go back, this driver, Western drivers, can take that truck.
Further down at the Sawani checkpoint, more people were trying to get to either side, most of them farmers.
We didn't have time to plan out our deliveries. We are stuck here.
Here at the Sawani Bridge, farmers from the interior of Neta Siri are meeting with teams from the Fiji Agro Marketing to sell their produce, as they currently cannot cross this border.
I'm a vendor from Bailey Bridge. I usually get my vegetable supply from the farmers who follow this route, but now the agro team are buying it and we have to buy it from them.
It was no different at the Ndelanavesi border in Lami, police officers having to turn away people almost immediately after Suva went into lockdown.
I wanted to go to Curfew today to get money for my family's groceries, but I couldn't.
Police say the Suva lockdown calls for more responsibility and unselfishness, and Fijians should avoid or stop crowding up unnecessarily at border checkpoints. Kelly Vadala, FBC News.
A handful of shops along the Suva-Nasinu corridor defied lockdown restrictions announced by the Prime Minister yesterday. At least one variety store in Valilevu-Nasinu was forced to close by police, while others followed suit and closed their doors quickly. Venina Rakautonga has more.
The Atlas Mega Variety Store opened for normal business this morning despite being a non-essential service provider. The owner claiming he was not aware the restrictions apply to his business as well.
No, my understanding was the road was blocked, like in Lautoka we heard the news. Yeah, the road, you can't go that side, can't come this side and all that. And I didn't know that they want us to close. So as soon as police rang me now, we're closing.
There were around 10 customers in the store and the police officers had to ask them to leave before ordering the owner to shut down.
I just went inside to buy a halita. I can see everyone inside practicing social distancing, so they are following proper protocols.
I was here and I witnessed the shop being forced to close by the police.
The other small shops in the vicinity opened today and people were seen carrying out their shopping like any other normal day.
Been aware of some of the things and not clearly everything. So whatever it is, what you hear in the news, so we just follow it.
I just came here to do some shopping for my family, so in case Nasinu gets locked down, I have some stuff.
On a normal day, this car park would have been full, but today says otherwise. The only businesses open here are banks, supermarkets and pharmacies.
Venina Rakautonga, FBC News.
It was not a normal Friday for the capital city, as many Fijians only traveled to Suva for essential services. Police patrols were high on the streets and people were mostly seen lining outside the banks, while some made grocery runs to the supermarket. Koroi Tandulala reports.
Day one of lockdown, and this is what one of the busiest places in the Suva City looked like. On a usual Friday, this place would be bustling with vendors, but it was a different sight today.
I came all the way from Naitasiri yesterday to sell my produce, but now I can't go back home. Luckily, I have a son in Rewanga whom I can stay with. I will be able to see my family again after 14 days.
During the lockdown, all markets are allowed to open, but some vendors took precaution and did not open their stall. Vendors from as far as Nadronga, Navua, Tailevu normally sell the produce outside the main supermarket on a weekend. However, with the lockdown in place and effective from this morning, this means they will not be able to make it to the market within the next 14 days. There was also no hustle and bustle in the central business district as it was deserted. Non-essential service providers within the capital city were seen abiding by the advisories, shutting down their operation and shops. An increase in police foot patrol was observed as they ensured Fijians follow the directives issued by the authority. Police were seen strictly following orders. A few cobblers opened their businesses this morning but were told by police to shut down. Essential service providers such as banks were strict with physical distancing and only a limited number of people were allowed inside at any given time. The government is urging Fijians to play their part and avoid unnecessary movement within the lockdown area. Koroi Tandulala, FBC News.
60 people, including 2 police officers, were arrested during the curfew hours of 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. Police Commissioner Brigadier General Sitiveni Ngilio has directed that the 2 officers based at the Lambasa police station be charged and produced in court like every other Fijian who has been arrested for breaching the nationwide curfew. These officers will also face internal disciplinary measures. Of the 56 arrests, 28 were recorded in the Southern Division, 26 in the West, 6 including the 2 police officers in the North. Brigadier General Ngilio has issued a directive that any police officer who is found breaching the measures and restrictions announced by the Prime Minister will be removed from the institution. This includes anyone responsible for social gatherings at police premises, including barracks. Up ahead, resort makes new arrangement for stranded foreigners and market services decentralized. Details after the break.
Radio Fiji 1 Nandom.
Welcome back. The physical distancing directive does not seem to be working for the transport sector. Buses have been seen carrying a number of passengers with no regard to government directives, and bus drivers seem to be the least bothered. With limited buses in Suva today, people crammed into whatever public transport they could find. Apanisa Wangai Randovu reports.
Most commuters were empty-handed, raising questions as to what they were doing in the city, adding to the congestion in buses.
Please, if you don't have anything to do in town, don't go to town and there will be no crowd.
This is in breach on government directives against unnecessary movement and physical distancing. There were constant reminders from the Suva City Council Enforcement Unit, but many still failed to take note.
When waiting to board the bus, please do ensure that you keep the 2 meters distance as directed by the government. Let's fight this war together.
From the time supermarkets opened this morning, a number of taxi drivers were seen fighting over base, as these are just few of those places that are open and where they can get their customers.
Taxi is supposed to operate from their base. Outside taxi cannot come down and operate from their base. If the base is empty, then the outside taxi can come and park. But first right, they got the base taxis to be parked in their base.
This is exactly the type of behavior that the government has warned against. If people continue to disregard directives, the Prime Minister has warned that there could be a nationwide 24-hour lockdown. Apiniswa Ngarndobu, FBC News.
Pacific neighbors have stepped in to help Fiji in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. Both Australia and New Zealand have given over $21 million to help cushion the economic impacts of the virus and prepare medical facilities for COVID-19 accordingly. Kara Tavi with the details.
The New Zealand government contributed around $3.9 million towards the COVID-19 response budget.
The New Zealand government would provide Fiji with $3 million New Zealand of budget support to support the COVID-19 budget for the government. That money has already been paid, so $3 million New Zealand dollars is about 3.9 million Fijian dollars.
The $18 million provided by Australia has been divided among relevant authorities.
To Fiji, we've provided or committed 13 million Australian dollars, I think about 18 million Fiji dollars. You may have seen that the Attorney General mentioned in the budget speech last Thursday that we'd committed $10.5 million. We've provided about $1 million to the Health Department, 1.3 million Australian dollars in direct budget support, and I think 200,000 to the RFMF.
Fix assured that the Australian government will always back Fiji during these difficult times.
Mentally, that we are here for Fiji during this difficult time. We're all going through this together, and our commitment to Fiji and the Pacific generally remains as strong as it ever has been.
The message is clear from both countries. It is times as such that we must lend a helping hand and stand together, just as they have done for Fiji. Karolini Tavi, FBC News.
Rooms at the Radisson Blu Resort Fiji are now being given out on rent to a few guests stranded in Fiji as our borders are closed since last month, and this is in an effort to stop the spread of COVID-19. The resort has drawn up a rental agreement with the 70 tourists who are staying there to help them financially during this crisis. Details with Felipe Naicaso.
The guests staying here are not paying for their rooms per night, but have made an arrangement with the resort management.
So they are running it as their own private house now. Yeah. Still, we consider them, of course, our guests, and we take care of them. But yeah, the principle changed now. Although it's not a profitable operation, but we just need to do it.
The resort has scaled down operations by 75%, and only 50 staff are working on rotational basis out of the 400+ workers.
We exhausted the annual leaves. And then after the annual leaves, we began the unpaid leave. In fact, it's not an unpaid leave because we decided, and the board of directors and Radisson Group, we decided to continue on paying the staff a certain amount per week until this situation ends.
The Tanoa International Hotel in Nadi is at 30% occupancy. The majority of their guests are those who are unable to travel back home.
None of our staff has been laid off. We've got all our 121 staff on reduced hours, which is between 32 to 48 hours. What we try to do is we try to keep them in a rotational basis and roster according to what our occupancy levels are.
Daniel Roy has also told FBC News that if the circumstances worsen, they will have to completely shut down the operations. Felipe Naicaso, FBC News.
Infrastructure projects in countries like Fiji will take a direct hit due to the COVID-19 pandemic, says the World Bank. In its latest report, East Asia and Pacific in the time of COVID-19, the World Bank says the pandemic will disrupt the import of raw materials to most Pacific countries. Sanyani Mboila reports.
The construction companies undertaking projects in the Pacific Island countries, including Fiji, will be severely affected by the pandemic. The World Bank report reveals that COVID-19 will hurt commodity and tourism revenues and also disrupt imports of raw materials and inflows of workers for infrastructure projects in many small island economies. The Construction Industry Council says they are already seeing a downturn.
It's going to impact on the industry for up to a year or more. You know, who knows? It's going to be it's going to be a slow start after this if it closes down completely. But at the moment it's functioning all right, and ultimately it may close down.
Jenkins says some of the raw materials are not available, and this has affected work for many companies.
Most construction materials are imported into Fiji at this point in time, and if alternative sources can be found, fine, but I doubt it at the way things are going at the moment.
He says the council is anticipating the effects of COVID-19 on the industry to become more severe in the coming months, which will see some projects being delayed while others will completely stop. Sainiani Boila, FBC News.
The local government ministry and municipal councils are ensuring minimal disruption at markets because of the coronavirus pandemic and the lockdown in certain places. The lockdown has impacted some vendors as many were unable to make it to the market. Municipal councils have identified areas to spread their respective vendors or decentralize market services.
The purpose of the UN market is to serve the working public, whoever is working in the offices, etc. They can just go to UN market, buy your produce and go home. My Suva Park is serving Lodala Bay area as well as Nasese area.
In business, cement sales decrease amid COVID-19 crisis. And drop in tourism affects rental car operators. Stay with us.
My name is Neha and I'm from Kadavi. And Mirchi FM, it's hot.
Mirchi FM, it's hot.
Leading business Pacific Cement Limited recorded a 27% or $750,000 decline in sales last month. The company's warehouse is based in Lautoka, and the lockdown affected its business, being unable to supply cement to Rakiraki, Tavua, Mba, Nandi and Singatoka. Josiah Nanunga with the details.
With a number of capital projects underway in the country, Pacific Cement's business forecast for 2020 was high.
That actually has given a big dent on our expectations. We did not foresee this from the beginning of the month, and we were trending quite well, and we thought that the momentum was really going to be a build-up.
But the COVID-19 pandemic crippled their business, and the company is now looking at other strategies to keep afloat during these trying times.
Those possibilities, we have not done that yet, but we are working on the possibilities of reduction in hours, reduction in manning, should that be the call of the day.
But it is coming. It'll be coming down the line. And I mean, the employment and the actually activities and everything of the industry are affected slightly, but it's going to be much more intense in the future.
Another cement producer, Standard Concrete Industries Limited, told FBC News that they've noted a 50% decrease in demand as of the end of last month. The company has closed down its Lautoka factory, and staff members have been advised to take leave until further notice. Jose Nanunga, FBC News.
The slowdown of the tourism industry due to COVID-19 is having ripple effects on a number of businesses heavily dependent on it. One such sector is the rental car business, and the Fiji Rental Car Association is looking at ways to help its members. Faria Begum has more.
The demand for rental cars have decreased with no tourists coming in the country.
We basically rely on the tourism sector, and since the airport is closed, we do not generate any income and we cannot hire any vehicles.
The Fiji Rental Car Association Vice President Shalit Kumar says they are looking at ways to assist their members.
So we have been hit from both fronts, not only from the tourism market, but also from the local sector. So what we discussed yesterday was to look at short-term strategies in terms of getting our loans sorted with the banks.
Kumar is advising the members to look at alternatives that can help their business.
I would like to also inform the operators to please look at alternatives to see how we could best deal with the current situation to create some business.
The pandemic has affected around 5,000 Fijians who are employed by over 300 rental car companies. The association is estimating its members will have to pay a heavy price if the COVID-19 crisis continues to affect the globe. Faria Begum, FBC News.
And Sanifa from HFC Bank joins us now with the latest from the money world.
Let's look at the latest in the currency market. The US dollar edged towards an almost 2% weekly rise today, boosted by a surge in oil price while investors sought safety amid the worsening economic fallout from the COVID-19 pandemic. The dollar gained for a second straight day against a basket of currencies as investors continued to take shelter in the US currency. Despite the rally in stocks, investors still sought the safety of the US dollar and government bonds as a record number of Americans, 6.6 million, filed jobless claims due to coronavirus-induced lockdowns as economic concerns stayed front and center. Analysts think the worst may already be over for the hard-hit Aussie and Kiwi dollars and see them slowly regaining ground over the year ahead, a surprising mark of faith given the economic carnage caused by the coronavirus. Many economists are forecasting the economy could shrink at least 5% in the quarter from the first quarter as social distancing and the closure of international tourism causes havoc with activity. That's all from HFC Bank for this week. Vinaka, and stay safe.
And here are today's exchange rates as set this morning. We gained against the Aussie dollar, the euro and the Japanese yen. The Fijian dollar fell against the Chinese yuan, the US dollar, the New Zealand dollar and the PNG kina. On to the commodities market, gold rose to close the week at $1,609 per ounce. Silver also increased to end at $14.39 per ounce. Crude oil rose to $24.26 per barrel. Ahead in sports, Team Fiji receives preliminary 7 squad for Olympics.
Bula, I'm Miri, I'm from Lotoka and I love Gold FM because they play all my classic hits.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Welcome back. Team Fiji's chef de mission to the Tokyo 2020 Olympics, Patrick Bauer, has confirmed they've received a national 7 squad list for the Games. The deadline for Rugby 7 squad submission was the end of last month, and that if the Olympics were to be held, and that is if the Olympics were to be held this year, but now things have changed. Aquila Dama reports.
Team Fiji is awaiting the International Olympic Committee's deadline for Rugby 7 squad submission since the Games have been postponed.
Well, yes, that will come from the Olympic level as to exactly when they're going to be having the final names submitted, and so we've got to rearrange our timeline to fit accordingly.
Fiji Sevens coach Gareth Baber says he will now wait for the relevant authorities' advice.
We will be guided by FASANOC and the Olympic rulings on when and how we release that or confirm those names.
But Bauer says the Fiji Sevens management now have more time to make adjustments as the Olympic Games have been moved to next year.
The delay will, of course, the dates and all of that will adjust, and so they will have the opportunity to put in their names finally later.
When asked about his final Olympic squad, Coach Baber says that's the least of their worry at the moment.
So we're under no pressure as it is now. There's far bigger things to be concerned with at the moment, and as I said, that with that being pushed back now, it'll be sort of delayed by a year.
Rugby all over the world is in crisis as COVID-19 takes its toll on global economies. The restart of the Premier League will be known tomorrow. In our play of the day, Matthias Bernstein is a beach volleyball player from Norway who's taught his dog Kiara some volleyball skills. Bernstein teams up with his partner while Kiara acts as the setter. By the way, Kiara is named after the daughter of Simba and Nala from Disney's The Lion King 2. Coming up in New Media, find out how COVID-19 can live on your phone and how you can clean it. Details coming up.
Bola, I'm Miri, I'm from Lotoka and I love Gold FM because they play all my classic hits.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Welcome back. In New Media, a lot of advice is being given to wash your hands regularly to minimize the spread of coronavirus. But do you know your phone is also likely to carry a lot of bacteria? A trough of low pressure remains slow moving over the group. Associated cloud and showers continue to affect the country. Looking at the west, partly sunny with some light showers late in the afternoon. Eastwards from Pacific Harbour to Suva, mostly cloudy with scattered showers at intervals. Up north, bit of rain and humid conditions, otherwise cloudy. At sea, moderate easterly winds, moderate seas. Turning to the tides, low tide at 8:48 p.m. with high tide at 3:06 a.m. Sunrise at 6:13 a.m. For tomorrow, occasional showers and a few thunderstorms over Yasawa and Mamanuda Group, Viti Levu, Kandavu and nearby smaller islands and the southern Lau Group. Elsewhere, cloudy with some showers and isolated thunderstorms. Tomorrow's temperatures will remain in the low 30s. Outlook for Sunday, occasional showers, heavy at times, and few thunderstorms over most places. In Fijian Pulse tonight, we ask, what do you think of the government's new containment measures in the fight against COVID-19?
I think the government is doing a very good job putting up curfews and roadblocks, and all the shops are closed so that people can stay at home and be safe.
I'm happy with what the government is doing.
I strongly support the strategies being implemented that will ensure public safety.
It's very good for people and it will save more lives.
Yes, it will stop people from going from places to places.
But the only thing only asking the people have to listen to what the government have mentioned.
In the world of the weird and the wonderful, people around the world are using their skills and ideas to help in the fight against COVID-19. In Belgium, researchers are converting snorkel masks into medical masks with 3D printing. Recapping the main stories, ban on gatherings of any size, Fijians turn up at Suva lockdown borders, and shops found breaching restrictions. For these stories and others, you can tune in daily to our sister radio station Gold FM to our poll question segment. This week, we're asking, should business houses make social distancing compulsory for customers? Visit our FBC News website to answer. 2-hour shot of the day sent in by Sahil Pratap. The morning sky flooded with pink light following light rain. Send us newsworthy pictures and videos, fbcnews@fbc.com.fj, or share it with us via our Facebook and Twitter accounts. Remember, in times of crisis, you need factual news that you can trust. Stop believing fake news about COVID-19 on social media. Fight misinformation by getting only the facts about the coronavirus from verified news sources like FBC's TV, radio and digital media news. www.fbcnews.com.fj, keeping Fijians connected with the truth.
Bola, I'm Miri, I'm I'm from Lotoka and I love Gold FM because they play all my classic hits.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.